His podcast?
Yeah, podcast. We don't even know what a podcast is.
Hey.
Podcast. We don't even know what a podcast is.
Pumpkin, apple.
Podcast. We don't even know what a podcast is.
What about that key lime?
Podcast.
Banana
We don't
cream.
even know what a podcast is.
Sweet
Podcast.
potato.
We don't even know what a podcast is.
What about peach?
Podcast. We don't even know what a podcast is.
What other type of pies are there? Hey.
We don't even know what a
What a
podcast
podcast is. Hey, welcome to Wax's podcast. Yes. Various types of pies we'll be discussing today. I'm going to do a little talk about pumpkin for about, 45 hours. And once those 45 hours are done, I think I'm going to do another 10 hours on key lime. Might do 30 seconds on banana cream. Banana cream pie is really only used for a pie to the face. Do you really eat banana cream pie? That's actually not true. I take that back. I take back that little diversion right there, because there's a place in Birmingham, Alabama, a barbecue place that my manager Brian used to always go to. He's from Birmingham, Alabama. And the goddamn name escapes me. The goddamn name of that place escapes me, but it was one of the best restaurants I've ever been to. Now I gotta fucking look it up, man. I gotta look it up real quick. So this is not going to be interesting. I'm using the keyboard and mouse right now to look this up. Speaking of the keyboard and mouse, if you came in here and saw my studio, it's kind of funny yesterday. It's not really that funny, but I did just laugh at it. Dreamland Barbecue. If you're ever in the Birmingham, Alabama area, make sure you go to Dreamland Barbecue, and they have a dessert that's like a little banana cream pie thing. And if I was doing a pie cast, I'd have to put that as one of the top pies of the cast. The top 100 pies of my podcast. I think it'd probably be a solid 2 or 3, because you kind of got to put either pumpkin or sweet potato at the top. I've heard the arguments. Some people like pumpkin. Some people like sweet potato. Kind of tastes pretty similar, and it really all depends on the way that you make it. You know, my dad makes sweet potato pie really well, so I'm on team sweet potato. What fucking team are you on? Make the choice now, because it's the most important choice you'll ever make. But that banana cream thing from Dreamland must be easily top 3 after pumpkin and sweet potato. Here on Wax's podcast. This isn't really a podcast, y'all. This isn't a podcast. It's a podcast. I wish it was a podcast, because then I could say that I've done something original. I bet if you looked up, let me look it up. We're going to start off the podcast by me Googling stuff. I wonder if there actually is a piecast out there. The Piecast. Holy shit. I wonder if that's Meek Mill's podcast. The Piecast. A podcast of pie eating, merriment, and conversation. There really is that, and he's on episode 66. I'm looking at the it looks like that's kind of I guess these motherfuckers really all right. I was just talking shit and kind of making fun of the fact that somebody might actually have a piecast. But this fool has a piecast. Shout out to him. It looks like it's probably not as seriously about pie. He probably thought of the name and thought that was funny. So he just like talks about whatever, and then it looks like him and his guest, or him by himself, they also eat pie. So they have, this one is apple and walnut praline equals tiny mouth orgasms. This one is this one doesn't say what kind of pie I ate. This one says the two of us just baked New York cheesesteak with raspberries. It was truly delicious. Even more delicious was the conversation we had. So that's more like if you called your podcast like a couple dudes with drinking beer podcast, except instead of like the podcast being about the subject of beer and like talking about the hops, talking about the alcohol content and things like that, how much barley is used to brew each batch, those kind of things. It's really just you happen to be drinking beer while you're talking about whatever the fuck you want to talk about. And in this case, he's talking about pie. Or he's talking about whatever while eating various types of pie. That's kind of interesting, man. So props to that guy who has the podcast. Already going off on many topics here on Wax's podcast. Episode 99, y'all. 99. So the next episode is episode 100, so the pressure is on. I have to do something extra special, right? Got to do my podcast while skydiving. That'd be probably just a... That's probably what that would sound like. So you wouldn't want to do that. What other options could I do for episode 100 to be special? You know what's probably going to happen? I'm probably just going to ramble like normal. I am going to do a podcast with my boy Davey. By the way, my album comes out next Friday, y'all. October 23rd, entirely produced by Upper Management. That's me and Davey Nathan. And me and Davey are going to record a podcast. I wish it would have been time right, so that was number 100, because that would be kind of special. But we're going to go through each song and do a podcast. It's almost like a writer's commentary, like the way they do on the DVDs of movies, and you just hear Seth Rogen or Steven Spielberg or whatever random fucking actor or director that I pick out of the fucking the bobbing for apples, which is names that are in my brain. So we're going to do that. I think we're going to record it this week or next, but I wouldn't put it out next week because that'd be before the album, and if you listen to the podcast, you'd be like, well, I haven't even heard that song yet. How do I even know what you're talking about? So that's going to have to be episode 101 or 102. So for episode 100, I don't even know what the fuck I'm going to do. Where did I go? There was one thing I wanted to say. It was interesting to me. It won't be interesting to you, but me and Davey have a pretty badass studio right now. We have like a nice computer, speakers, fucking 5 keyboards, fucking sub and fucking guitars and all the wires and microphones and preamps and all this shit everywhere. And I came in yesterday. I was going to do some work. And the wireless mouse, the batteries were dead. And because of that, the computer was... I know that like... That reminds me, when I used to work at this office job, there was one guy there that was the tech guy. And something was wrong with the mouse on my computer. And I was like, well, I can't do anything. My mouse isn't working. He was like, actually, Windows is completely navigable by keyboard only. And he knew all the fucking shortcuts that you could and he was like fast as shit, just doing everything with just the keyboard. And I know that probably the Macintosh, whatever fucking OS I'm on right now, I'm sure it's entirely operable by keyboard too. But if you don't know how to do that, just the simple fact of your mouse being out of batteries renders like thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of equipment totally inoperable just because of this old technology that we've had for a long, long time. I don't know how long we've had batteries. When did we start using batteries? Let me see if I can... This is going to be the Google episode. The 99 is the top of the O's on Google. That's dumb. But origin of batteries? I don't know. There was probably like a different kind of battery. They probably just put a bunch of lab rats inside of something and then attached it to a cable. And that created a lightning bolt that Thomas Edison and Jefferson both used to do something. History of the battery. Wikipedia. All right. This is not really something... Damn, they were making batteries way back in the day. 1749, Benjamin Franklin. The U.S. polymath and founding father first used the term battery to describe a set of linked capacitors he used for experiments with electricity. So I was not far off in my bullshit tirade right there. Benjamin Franklin, man. God damn. Like, that dude did a lot of shit that we remember to this day. I couldn't really name offhand a lot of the stuff that he did. If you would have asked me in 6th grade or whatever fucking social studies class I learned about American history, that kind of American history, like the standard one. You know, like standard generic, like you learn that Paul Revere rode down the street with his horse. The British are coming. Learn about Benjamin Franklin. You learn about like the early presidents and who they call the founding fathers. Failing to mention that most of them owned slaves. Our fucking history is so fucked up, man. I wonder what it's like in other countries, too. I tried to ask. I visited Germany a lot a couple years ago, and it's such a taboo to even talk about World War II or Hitler or anything over there. If anybody's listening over there, you know what I'm talking about. It's very taboo to talk about it, and I didn't want to bring it up and whatnot, but I was just curious about in a history class in high school how that's taught. Like, how is it spun? Do they just ignore it and try to forget that it happened? Or do they bring it up and talk about it in a negative light? Or is it like an apathetic light? It's kind of like not positive or negative. It's just like a news reporter reporting facts. I don't know. But I can tell you that our history books are biased. And we're supposed to, I don't know. One thing that some people, I know that there's a lot of people that listen to this podcast that aren't from the United States. I don't know if I've brought this up on the podcast before, but I feel like people outside the United States might not know that we do this, but looking back at it now, it seems strange. But looking back at it now, it also seems like part of a conspiracy. From elementary school until high school and public school in the United States, every single morning. So that's first grade through 12th grade. So 12 years straight of school, every single morning. Excuse me. The day is started with the Pledge of Allegiance. So every single classroom has in one corner of the classroom an American flag hanging up. And every single person in the class is required. I think, like, you're not technically required to do this. I think, and I bet you nowadays it's a little bit more, like, there's probably schools in certain areas that are a little bit more liberal leaning, and a lot of kids probably don't stand up for the pledge. But where I'm from, like, it was required. I remember there was one kid that got in trouble for not doing it. I can't remember who it was, though. I can't remember the person's name, but I remember there was a person who wouldn't stand for the pledge, and, like, they got in trouble or expelled or some shit. But every single morning before your first class, in every classroom, in every public school in the United States, all 50 of them. I don't know if they do it in Guam and Puerto Rico and all the other territories and whatnot, but you have to stand up. And every single person puts their hand on their heart and faces the flag, looks at it, and says the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to say it right now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. It sounds like you're supposed to say amen after it. It's just like I looked at that saying when I was young. I looked at it as just a bunch of words that you memorize, pretty much the same way I looked at prayers that everybody says in the church, in Catholic Church. We believe in the Holy Father, Lord, and the Spirit of the Apostle. I can't remember that. I can't even remember what that thing was called. You say it right after the homily. But it's kind of weird, man. Let's analyze this. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. First of all, it's like, why am I... It's not pledging allegiance to a flag. A flag is just... there's a million flags. It's a piece of cloth with different colors and patterns on it. Shouldn't you be pledging allegiance to the United States of America, not the flag? But I guess then it says, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. It's still, I don't know if it still says under God, but it said under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And you have to say that every morning, and I think, looking back at it, that was put in. That was probably put. Let's Google. Let's do Google. Let's Google the origin of the Pledge of Allegiance. Because I'm going to guess that it was put into effect during wartime. I'm going to guess World War II. I'm going to guess that during World War II they made kids start saying that. And it's just so like Nazi-ish to me to have to pledge your allegiance to the country. The Pledge of Allegiance was written in 1892 by the socialist minister Francis Bailey. It was originally published as a youth companion. Let me see. Formally adopted by Congress as the pledge in 1942. It was always common to study in school. I know this is really interesting, hearing me read in my head. But yeah, I guess it is around World War II that they made kids start saying it, looks like. Hold up. Yeah, okay, so there's a lot of stuff about the under God part of it's always been somewhat controversial because this country is supposed to be founded on freedom of religion, so that's kind of weird to put that in there, but we're required to say it. And I think that some of the people that are really, really patriotic, kind of without regard to logic, there's a lot of people in the United States that are patriotic without regard to logic. And I really believe that, if you added up all the times that person said the Pledge of Allegiance, not to mention all the time that you see the Star-Spangled Banner before the thing, the American flag, people on the TV that are politicians talking about freedom and we're the best and we're number one and all this shit. There's a lot of people who just have this blind patriotism. And ironically, in my opinion, most of the people that say that America is definitely the best country on earth are also people that have never been outside of the country. And I don't know how many countries there are on earth. Gotta imagine like fucking, I don't know, 300 maybe. But 1 out of 300, that's pretty fucking good. Now granted, I know that there's a lot that are clearly below, but there's some that if you've been to these places, you'd be like, damn, they really give us a run for their money if you're looking at the math. You know what I mean? Speaking of America, I actually went on I got on a YouTube, what do you call that? A YouTube, like, portal? There's a word that I used to use, like you get trapped, like you're at your house at night by yourself. You're not horny. You're just horny for knowledge and entertainment. So you go on the internet and you somehow start watching YouTube videos, and then you watch one, and lo and behold, on the related videos, shit on the right, which used to be on the bottom back in the day, for those who didn't know. The related video, I don't even know if that's true, but the related videos, you'll start clicking on those, and then you'll be, all of a sudden, you're 10 videos deep. I started watching these videos. Maybe that's why I'm like talking about this. I didn't write any of this stuff down. I'm just rambling right now. I haven't written any of this shit down, but I got into a YouTube portal of videos where this guy who was the guy was kind of weird and a little bit, I don't know, you'd have to see him. I can't remember his name, so I can't tell you, but there's this guy, he goes to a bunch of different places and he asks the people on the street, just random people on the street, what their perception is of people elsewhere. Like, there's a couple ones in the States, like he'd be on the West Coast being like, what do you think about the East Coast? People, what are your stereotypes of people from the East Coast and back, etc. But the interesting shit, to me, that wasn't that interesting, especially considering it's just East Coast and West Coast means New York and L.A. That's what people were talking about. So, what the fuck was I saying? Yeah, so I got trapped in this YouTube portal of this guy that went over to other countries. One was Germany, one was the Netherlands, and then one was Canada, and then one was Britain. And they just be like, yo, so what are the stereotypes? What is the stereotypical way that people view Americans here? And it was interesting to see the answers. There was, of course, answers that you would expect. Fat, eat a lot of bullshit. I love watching people from other countries do American accents because they have to say words when they do it, and the words that they choose are what makes it funnier even than the accent. Because it's either like, oh my God, yeah. But it's always like, oh my God, let's get some cheeseburgers. Oh my God, cheeseburgers and pizza. And it's pretty accurate. It's pretty fucking accurate. Like, if you've been to a lot, especially in Europe, like, I ain't been to that many places, man. I've never been to Africa, never been to Asia, never been to South America. So my only reference point is like places in the Caribbean, Mexico, Canada. Canada's not that different than America when it comes to the fatness of people, I would say. They eat some bullshit too up there, but go to Europe and it really is like the portions are much smaller and people are in kind of better shape and whatnot, so they got that right. But there was one that kept coming up that I didn't know. Like it was the most popular one besides fat, the stereotypical way that people view America. The most common one was that we're fake. Americans are fake. Like they say that Americans are they're very friendly. I guess that's the good half of being fake. There's like, yeah, Americans are very friendly and they're very polite, but they like if they're polite to you, that's just their exterior, you know? Whereas I guess that people in certain areas of Europe are more like if they're feeling cold, they're going to be cold. If they're feeling angry, they're going to act angry. Shit like that. What the hell is this? Something in my studio? That's weird. What the fuck is that? Not going to say what it is, but yeah, so that's where I was at one night recently. Did I write anything down? I wrote 2 things down. I wrote one thing down last week. I was hanging out with a girl who was much younger than me. She was 22 years old, and don't get the wrong impression. Just hanging out. And at this bar, and we went outside, and we walked by a guy who was homeless. And not only was this guy homeless, but he was like, you know when you see a guy and he's still got, like, it's like, there's a certain type of homeless guy that's like newly homeless. Like he kind of got onto meth, but you can see in his clothes, like that recently he was kind of like a stylish person. He's got skinny jeans, his shoes still look kind of all right. But then his face is starting to get that meth face. You know what I mean? And he's crazy, and it's just, damn, dog, like, you were on the right track for a second, and within the last 2 months or so, you became homeless due to drugs. Drugs are very powerful, y'all. Extremely fucking powerful. Be careful, man. God damn. Goddamn, drugs are powerful. But this guy was not like that. This guy, and I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm just describing, just like the way I was saying earlier about a news person that actually reports the facts. This guy had a beard and long hair, and literally, if you were to trim his beard or cut his hair, you would not be able to use scissors. You would not be able to use a beard trimmer. You would have to use a hacksaw. You would have to use at least a hacksaw, if not chain. Because that's how fucking, like, it wasn't even like, it's like his entire head was one dreadlock. It was like just fucking, just coarse as fuck. And he was a white dude too. But, and then he, you know, he was just covered in dirt, and you could smell him, etc. But he's sitting there on the sidewalk, and next to him is a pack of Marlboro Reds. It's laying on the ground next to him. And you know, for me, if I see somebody and they ask me for change, first of all, usually I don't have change or cash on me. I usually don't carry cash, and I sometimes don't give homeless people money because I feel like it's either all or none, man. Either got to give everybody money, because I don't know what the criteria is to make like, oh, this guy deserves it and this guy doesn't. Maybe if the guy's doing something, if he's doing a dance or playing guitar or fucking juggling or something, maybe that's more. I don't even know. My point is, you know, this girl was 22 years old, and this is a 22-year-old thing to do. We walk by him. He's got the cigarettes next to him. He's super, super homeless, been homeless for a minute. And he's like, yeah, you guys got any change? Or I think he asked for $1. And I was like, no, man, but I got a cigarette. And I pulled out my pack. I smoke Marlboro Mediums, which are one level lighter than Marlboro Reds. And the girl goes, no. He smokes Marlboro Reds. And she points to the pack. Like, this guy's not going to accept. He's not going to accept my Marlboro Medium. Because he has his Marlboro Reds there. He's not going to accept it. And if you know anything about the world, you understand why that's a very young thing to say. I've never, ever, as I just told you, that's what I do. I give cigarettes. I don't give change. Like, if somebody asks me for change, I'm like, no, but I got a cigarette. And you don't have to be like, do you smoke? You don't have to ask that. I've never had a homeless person say no to a cigarette. A cigarette is something, and they will take it. And they'll sometimes be appreciative, sometimes not, but they will definitely take it. No matter what brand, no matter what anything. So maybe that's not an interesting story. Maybe that's not a funny story. But I did write it down, and I just told it. So you fucking either listen to it Or as I was telling it, the words just became just like Charlie Brown's teacher, and you started thinking about other things. That's what's been happening to me a lot recently, man. I've been having trouble staying focused on things. Like I was telling my brother the other day, dude, like I gotta get into some meditation or some yoga or something where I can stay present in the moment, because now, recently more than ever, I've been constantly thinking about my brain can't stay focused on one thing, and it's a real problem, especially with music, because I listen to music a good deal, and recently when I've been listening to music, it's like when you're a kid and you're reading a book, and you're reading it and you're looking at all the lines and you're taking in that this is a word and this is a word, but then you get to the bottom of the page and you realize you actually absorb any of the information. That's been happening to me a lot with music recently, man, and I'll be like, fuck, like I really like that song. And after like 20 or 30 seconds, I tuned out and started thinking about all these worries that I have and all these thoughts about the future and thoughts about what I have to do next week and what I have to do next month and do with my life and fucking all kinds of shit. And that's a bad sign, I think. I think that's a bad sign when it comes to just happiness, productivity, contentment. Just being content in your life. Because I'm starting to, especially as you get older, I've been starting to think that, like, and you see it a lot in L.A. You see it a lot, I think, in L.A. Like, because L.A. is filled with ambitious people. And this is the kind of ambition that often is selfish ambition. Like people that want to be stars, people that want to be rich, people that want to be famous. And I think that especially at an older age, and I know it's different for everybody, maybe I'm just talking about myself, but I think ambition can actually be detrimental to happiness, because ambition has this underlying component where you're always looking to the future to achieve something. You're always looking towards this goal that you want to achieve. And you're not satisfied until you get it. And even when you do kind of get what you wanted, whether it's yourself or the people around you or the powers that be or whatever it is, even if you achieve your goal, now you got to have a higher goal. Achieve that goal, now you got to have a higher goal. So you're constantly striving to achieve something. So you're always looking to the future. And what I mean is you're never content and happy with what you have. And I know that there's people out there that can do both. And I can do both, sort of. I'm not fucking, I like doing what I do. I like the process of it. And that's what the people always say, focus on the process, not the result. And I fucking believe in that. But, ultimately a lot of people are focused on the result. And if you're constantly focused on the future, and then even when you do achieve something, you just like, now I got to do this, you never really achieve contentment. I mean, there's a documentary on Netflix called Happy that kind of makes that point too. The part of that documentary that got to me the most was this guy. He's a rickshaw driver, I guess operator, and I don't know if it was Bangladesh or India. But if you don't know a rickshaw is a thing that has two wheels. It's essentially a horse and buggy, and a man is the horse, and you just are kind of like a lower class dude in like the city in India, and people that have some money will ride in the rickshaw, and you literally walk on the street or sometimes even run, I guess, and take them where they want to go. You're like a cab driver but on foot, like you can picture it. Like literally a horse and buggy, except a man is the horse. So he does that all day, and then he goes home to like a fucking shack, and it's got his wife, and he had 2 or 3 kids there, and this dude was the fucking happiest dude. Like he was just like, every day I'm fucking happy, every day I'm blessed. I come home and my son is happy to see me, and we spend time as a family and we do our thing, and he's fucking happy. And it just made me think, like, he's smarter in a lot of ways than people that are trying to achieve the quote unquote. No, I'm not going to say, I guess the American dream is contentment with your family and your picket fence and your 2 kids and your dog and your 9 to 5. So there's similarity there, but the Hollywood dream is more people that have this Hollywood dream. He's kind of smarter than them. And it made me think of this other shit that I read a while back. I might have mentioned this on a podcast before. But I saw this thing about the Egyptian pyramids. I know that was a weird segue, but when the Egyptian pyramids were built, they were built by, 99% of the people in Egypt. The other 1% were the ruling class, the king, who they were building the pyramid in his honor. And everybody else was essentially slave labor. They got paid in beer. That was interesting to me. I found out they got paid in beer. So you work all day, you get home, and they give you beer. And you drink, you're with whoever, and then that the next day is the same thing. And there's really no fucking chance of you advancing in society. And you're like, okay, this is what it is. I guess I got to do my best with this. I get home, I probably kiss my wife. I'm assuming they had wives and children at least and stuff like that. But there's really no upward mobility, so you kind of have to be content with where you are. Whereas the king that's making them build this pyramid, he's not fucking happy until he has a goddamn pyramid. He's like, I need a pyramid. and here, yeah, I got all the women, I got the money, I got the stuff, but I need a pyramid. And the pyramids took hundreds of years to build. So he would fucking die before the pyramid was done. He'd be dead. He would never see the pyramid in his lifetime. And I got to wonder if there was a way to measure his happiness versus one of the people that was building the pyramids. I know it's different for everybody. I know everybody has a different view of everything. And, some people that are achieving the Hollywood dream are probably the happiest people ever. But my point is, I think especially as you get older, like I've said before, when you're young, if you're doing something, you're hungry and you brag about being hungry and you strive to be hungry and like, yo man, look, get the shit, yeah, we out here. But you know what I mean. And if you're enjoying the work, that's awesome. That's what keeps me what keeps me all right. You know what I mean? Because I actually enjoy doing the work, and I'd be making music and writing shit down and all this regardless. If I had a 9 to 5 or whatever, I'd still be making music. But once you get older, I feel like rather than being hungry, you would prefer to be full, Rather be full. Rather be like, yeah, I really like where I'm at now. And I don't have to fucking feel negatively about myself because I haven't achieved more. What am I doing? I'm not working hard enough, It's that classic shit people always talk about. They say when there's a lot of articles about this, like when you ask people on their deathbed, what do they regret? Nobody ever says, I wish I would have worked harder. Nobody says that. We always say that in life. We're like, yeah, 10 years down the line, man, you're going to be like, damn, why didn't I work harder? But in reality, 10 years down the line, you're going to be like, damn, like, I didn't see my family enough. I worked too hard. I didn't go to a lot of places. I didn't travel like I should. I didn't, That reminds me that I think I talked about this article on the podcast before, but there's that 52-year-old guy whose name escapes me. He was 52. He died of cancer, and he was from New Zealand, but I think he lived in San Francisco. But he wrote a paper about that when he died. Speaking of people on their deathbed, he worked for an advertising agency, and he said even when he was in the hospital, his coworkers would come to him and they'd be like, they'd be showing him the work they're doing, and they'd be like saying things such as, "Yeah, I haven't seen my wife in weeks. I missed my kid's baseball game yesterday, but client has a deadline or whatever." And they'd say that almost in a bragging way, and he would be like, "Are you fucking mad? Are you fucking crazy?" Like, that's the kind of shit that you look back and regret, in my opinion. I think you look back and regret that kind of shit. Granted, there's a different kind of person, And maybe a lot of us are like that on a smaller level. Like, a lot of the stuff that artists do, musicians do, it helps people that you don't even know. Like people that you've never even met can be helped out by music and art. And that's what it is to have a calling. If you're motherfucking trying to think of like the illest, and that could be the same in the world of religion. You know what I mean? The Pope or whatever. I'm not gonna talk. Not the. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna talk about. I'm not gonna bring that into it. But if you are Bob Dylan or John Lennon, Jimi Hendrix, people like Bob Marley, like. If Bob Marley didn't get to take care of his kids every day and miss some soccer games, I think that's because he really was doing something more important. And maybe that's true for people even at lower levels and whatnot. But I think even he probably had regrets like that. If that makes any sense. What am I even fucking talking about? I'm getting a little deep today. Not really a fun podcast, more just like a deep cut podcast. Now let's get back to the podcast. Here I've got an oatmeal cream. I've got a lovely apple caramel walnut souffle, and then I've got a dog shit croissant. So why don't we go do some questions and shout outs? All right, check 1 2 check it out. I got a couple, like, I apologize. Two of these letters are kind of like pretty long-winded, but I think we'll get through them. As for anybody who wants to know, first of all, before I get to this, I'm about 11 days back, 10 days back. So that's for me. If anybody that listens to this regularly know, that's pretty good. So if you want to send me a question, beatsforwax at gmail.com. That's BEATSFOR. WAX@gmail.com. If you want to support the podcast, go to my website, wax.com.com/podcasts, or just go to wax.com.com and click on podcasts, and there's a link there for Amazon.com. If you want to buy something on Amazon, just go there from there, and I get some kind of small percentage, which, like I say every time, I don't even get it. It goes to my brother. And I'm about to fucking change that because that fool just got a raise. So I'm about to change that. I'm about to actually use that to pay my podcast bill. Y'all don't know, but I actually pay. Saying this like it's like crazy, but I don't make any money off this podcast, and I pay $30 a month for the hosting service. So from now on, Herbs, that's my brother's nickname. From now on, I'm about to take that shit, man. I'm about to take that shit back. You raise having son of a bitch. So yeah, but support the podcast that way. A lot of people that hit me up this week were asking about merch. I got my album coming out, like I said, next Friday. So normally in a situation like this, I would have already had pre-order for the merch and a promo video for the merch. But the problem is the new T-shirts I got for this bundle that I'm making haven't arrived yet. So I can't make the video without the actual product itself. So I'm a little bit late, but I will have a bundle. A merch bundle for this album if anybody's interested. I'd appreciate it if you bought it for the support and to get all this dumb shit. I'll just tell you what it is. It's going to be called the Rough Night Recovery Kit. So you're going to get a CD. If anybody buys the kit, I'm gonna sign the CD. So it'll be a signed CD, a T-shirt. It's a cool T-shirt this time too. You'll see it. Then a pack of wax rolling papers. A pair of wax sunglasses, which I already have, which are actually doper than you probably out there thinking. It's just like like if you ever seen Vans sunglasses, it looks just like that, except where it says Vans, it says wax with my logo. And then I got a wax coffee mug. So it's a coffee mug, a set of rolling papers, some sunglasses. That's the Rough Night Recovery Kit, that aspect of it. I think you can understand what I mean. You wake up in the morning hungover, you get your coffee, you put on your sunglasses so nobody can see the fucking alcohol that are still dripping in your eyes, the redness of your eyes, or the black eye you got from the bar fight you were in last night that you can't even remember. I was just telling somebody that fucking, I want to somehow put in my stand-up that like the best part of sobriety is that all your all your injuries. What is the way I worded it? It's not terrible. Fucking, it's like you can like all your injuries are explainable. You know what I mean? And then the rolling papers. So you can smoke tobacco and get the nicotine fix you need for the morning. And then the T-shirt and the CD are kind of more just, they don't really go with the kit. I guess you could wear your T-shirt because it's comfortable as compared to the suit you wore last night at that wedding you were at where you hooked up with the bridesmaid and don't even remember it. Don't even know if you came inside of her or not. Who knows? But you can wear that T-shirt. It's a lot more comfortable than that suit. And then, of course, you can listen to the relaxing sound of the new album by Wax, Living Foul, here on K-Jazz 98. So, yeah, be wary for that. As soon as I get the shit together, I'm going to make some kind of promo video. I might not be able to make I'm not sure if I'm going to do Corey Steele again or not, if any of you guys remember that. I think I might have lost this outfit, but we'll see. So, anyway, any other things I had to address? The album coming out. Oh shit! You could check out. I put out my web series yesterday. The first episode of my web series is called Chain Reaction. So if you go to my YouTube page, youtube.com/wax, and for all you asking, it's my YouTube page is youtube.com/wax and herbal tea, and it's by the fact that I always say youtube.com/wax now. It's not like there's any rift between me and herbal tea. It's just I got wax and it's easier. Like what people are like, what? Like it's 3 letters. It's fucking easier. When you click on it, and it goes to Wax and Herbal Tea. It's just like what I'm saying, like a fucking, what do they used to call those where you shorten the link? I don't know what it's called. Link. What the fuck? There was a website that used to be popular. I don't even know. Oh yeah. So go and watch my show, Chain Reaction. The first episode was I went to Denny's, and basically Chain Reaction means I review chain restaurants. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, the first episode, if you thought it was whack, it's because it's the weakest one. The weakest episode was the first one, and we actually recorded them in order, and they get better as they go, for sure. They definitely get better as they go. If I get an opportunity to do it again, it's going to be even better, because I'm going to do a little bit more prep. Like everything was off the top on these shows, but they get better as they go. Like the last, it's literally like as like the best one is the last one, the second best one is the second to last one, blah blah blah. And after this is over, by the way, motherfucker on YouTube who probably doesn't listen to this podcast, I put out an episode, and there was one guy. Granted, I totally deserve this. I'm the most inconsistent internet person ever. But he was like, "Yeah, I bet Wax quits after 10." It's like 10. Motherfucker, I got 5. I made 5 of them. And you're fucking making fun of me for fucking quitting after 10? The first season is 5 episodes. How about you make a fucking show, you motherfucker? 10 is a lot. 10 is a lot. That's 10 fucking restaurants I gotta go to, 10 fucking meals, 10 times the shit's gotta be edited. You're making fun of me for quit after 10? I don't think motherfuckers realize that it actually takes effort to make things. To make things takes effort. And I saw that, I was like, God damn, well, he's going to be fucking, when he sees that it's a season, I have 5 of them. I have 5 episodes in the season. And he's making fun of me because after 10, I'm going to quit. Like, it's like, it just takes more than people think to do shit. It takes time. It takes money. It takes effort. It takes another person to be there filming it. It takes coordinating it. It takes I have other shit fucking going on. And if I made 10 and you're fucking complaining about it, like you fucking paid a goddamn dime to watch it, you son of a bitch, like that pissed me off, man. And I don't even like to look at YouTube comments anymore. I looked at him on the video. I looked at him on this one. And usually I don't, like, honestly, the last couple years I don't even, well, the last, this one's on me video, the last few videos I put out, like, I don't even really look at the comments. I don't even look at them shits. Because when I used to look at comments, what happens is you look at 100 comments, you see fucking amazing comments, like, you're my favorite, this is amazing, This is awesome. This is great. And then you see one negative comment, and something in human nature makes that's the one you see. That's the one that gets under your skin. But this one got under my skin because it's like, dude, why don't you make a fucking show? You know, I guarantee if I clicked on his website, on his YouTube page, I'm going to fucking do it right now, you goddamn son of a bitch. I don't know why I'm getting so mad at this dude. He fucking got under my skin a little bit, y'all. I got a little under my skin. I'm going to see if I can find it right now. All right. Wax and herbal tea, chain reaction, episode 1. See if I can find this shit. Oh, God damn it. Hold up. Where's this guy at? Can I find it? Can I find it? See, most of these are great. Like I said, I don't think that this episode was just okay, and we got kicked out like immediately. So it was difficult. Where did the guy delete it or something? The guy must have deleted it. Don't see it. Shit. Sorry, y'all. I'm doing a lot. This is easily the most like in web surfing during the episode that I've ever done. I don't know if this motherfucker. Okay, there he is. Give it about 10 episodes before he quits. See what videos this guy has. Oh, shit, this fool has a shitload of... Oh, wait. Wait a second. That's of just videos he liked. What about videos that he uploaded? YouTube is more confusing now. They're constantly changing everything. He's never uploaded anything. Of course, he's never uploaded any uploads. He's never uploaded anything. So to you, Keebslol, Keebslol, I guess that's Keebs, LOL. What are you, a goddamn elf from the 80s? With your fucking cookies in your tree? You ain't. Why don't you make a video about that? About your cookies in your tree, Keebs. But I don't know. If you had said like, yeah, give it 3 or even give it 5, I'll give you that. I should have mentioned that it's in a season. It's a season of it, not like, oh, I do this every fucking week. I guess that's assumed on YouTube. I'll give you that. It's assumed on YouTube that when I should have put season 1. That's what I should have done. Season 1, episode 1. I guess it's assumed on YouTube that if I say I'm going to put something out on Tuesday, it's every Tuesday for the rest of my fucking life. I guess that's assumed. It's true, there are shows like that. That's how Ray William Johnson was. So, either way, Keebs LOL. Why don't you fucking LOL, you're way down to hello hell, huh? Hello hell. Okay, I'll stop fucking going off on that and sounding like a fucking tool that got riled by a troll. All right. He probably didn't even say it with the tone that I read it in, you know. It was probably like a real friendly tone. Like he's probably one of you. He's probably listening to the podcast right now. Like, damn, man, like Wax, I didn't mean it like that. I was just fucking you, busting your balls, man. You know what I mean? I said it like this, like, give him 10 episodes. That's probably how he meant it, and I took it the wrong way. So, shout outs. Tyler J. Aaron James, one word. We got Matt V. We got Saint Jame, not St. James, y'all. Saint Jame, Jame. We got my man, Jake from Phoenix. We got Becca G. We got Philip S, y'all. Tyler. No last name, no place, just Tyler. We got Rob G, who recommends the special Bear by Jim Jeffries. I actually recommend that as well. Definitely a good comedy special by the Aussie comedian Jim Jeffries. His part of that special, some of you guys, if you haven't seen that special or heard of him, you might have seen part of that special has gone viral several times. He has a section on gun control, comparing the Australian attitude towards the American attitude. And you always like that. It's one of those videos that you see every once in a while on Facebook, and it's got a gazillion views, and people are talking about it, and it's a war in the comments between like, I want my guns, don't need guns, I don't need guns, I don't need guns. We got Joey W. from Alabama. We got Petey Machete from New York. We got Jackie Sweetleaf. We got Frank S. And we got Envious with an M. Envious. All right. Now, this is Anthony L. Anthony L. says, in case nobody emails you for next week's podcast, I got you. Recommendation. The musician Kyle just released a new album called Smile, and that's with a Y, like spelled like Kyle. He was on Kinda Neat from a while ago. Kinda Neat is the Homie Intuitions podcast. If you haven't seen Kinda Neat, go check that out, man. Kinda Neat is a podcast, but it also has, every podcast he interviews musician, mostly rappers, like 90% rappers, but they also do a live performance, which he posts on YouTube, and it's a great fucking YouTube channel. You could get stuck on that for hours if you love music and shit. And that was a good one. The dude Kyle fucking crushed that shit. I think he's probably the most viewed one. So go check that out. I haven't heard his album though. I should check it out. And then question was, do you have any advice on what to do in California for vacation? California for vacation. I would go to Mississippi. Anthony Kiedis of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. If you did a study on who mentioned the most states in their lyrics, I guarantee you he would win by a landslide. P.S. Can you give a shout out to Herbal Tea and Jackie Chan? All right, shout out to Herbal Tea and Jackie Chan. Advice on what to do in California for vacation? Yeah, I can give you advice, man. There's actually a standard vacation. I've met a lot of people that are from either Europe or the East Coast. There's a standard West Coast vacation, which consists of Los Angeles, where you go to Hollywood and you go to Venice Beach, and you might take like a tour, one of those tours where you get on a bus and they show you where fucking Tom Hanks lives or whatever. And it's what's funny is they lie. They lie. Like supposedly on those tours where you go and go up into the hills and see all the celebrity households, that shit's all fucking made up. And some of the guys even have fun with it and just like make up something different every day. But the stereotypical vacation a lot of people take, I almost feel like sometimes it's like with a tour group or something. You'll do that, and then you'll go down to San Diego for a day, maybe go to the zoo, maybe go to the beach. Like San Diego has some beautiful beaches. And then you'll go up to San Fran. I think usually actually you would go to Vegas first. There's four places: the Bay, L.A., San Diego, and Vegas. So, Vegas is where you just party and there's a lot of things you can do in Vegas, But if you're asking me what to do on a vacation to California, that's tough. I mean, definitely spend a good amount of time in San Francisco, man. My favorite part of California to just visit, like if I was a tourist, would probably be San Francisco. It's a really interesting place, really fun place to be. LA is cool, but LA is one of those places where like when people visit LA on vacation, they're like, I didn't really like LA. I didn't really like it. I would say that like San Diego or San Francisco, but even more so San Diego because it's so fucking bright and beautiful and beachy, and there's just beautiful surfer chicks everywhere in those beach areas of the town, and then there's cool hipstery places downtown, and there's people partying, and it's awesome. So that's like your friend that like when you first met him, you just fucking, man, I love this guy. This guy's amazing. This fucking guy's funny. He's awesome, fun to hang out with. And then LA is more like, you kind of got to live here to realize how awesome it is. That's like your friend that like, the personality, I'm kind of like this. Like when you meet somebody for the first time, they don't really talk, you know what I mean? But then after meeting them a few times, you realize like, damn, this motherfucker opened up and now he's cool as shit. That's LA. But I think in LA you kind of should do stereotypical tourist shit if you only have a little bit of time. Like definitely go to Venice Beach. Go to like the stereotypical Hollywood area, like Hollywood and Highland. I'd say, and go see the fucking weirdos over there. There's some cool shit downtown to see. There's a lot of cool bars and restaurants. If you want to know bars and restaurants, I would go to a Korean bar. I mean, I'd go to the one I went to most recently, Quarters. That's the name of a Korean barbecue in Koreatown. I'd recommend that place like a motherfucker. But there's a lot of good sushi restaurants in LA. Just fucking Yelp that shit. You want to get an awesome Hawaiian breakfast? Go to Ruts in Culver City. That's my favorite. That and Quarters are my favorite restaurants in LA. Yeah, so that's, like, hopefully I did a service to you. All right, this next one is by Gus the Bus. We got Gus the Bus in the house. Speaking of which, Nate the Plate, we're all still waiting for your email that you're going to send me about the origin of your name. We've been waiting. You're the person that's kind of created this, like, rhymey one-syllable word fad here on Wax's podcast. By the way, Gus the Bus is also, then it says parentheses, BIIIIIIIITCH. So, bitch, Gus the Bus, bitch, is who this is from. What's up, Wax? I'm looking forward to your new album, man. I'm a longtime fan, dig your music. I actually saw you perform at the Warped Tour in Albuquerque. You signed my phone case, and that made my whole fucking year. Awesome. Albuquerque. Yeah, that was the one where there was a fucking, like, sandstorm in the middle of the show. By the way, Gus, if you don't know, Watsky did that show. You should Watsky on Watsky's channel on YouTube, but I think he has like a second channel where he does like vlogs and shit. He has like a little mini doc on that exact show. You should check it out. Maybe you're in that shit. All right. Anyways, enough of the fanboy dick riding slobber. I got a question and a couple of recommendations for the podcast. First, if you were stranded on an island by yourself and you were only able to take 3 albums with you, which ones would you choose? I know I would choose Midnight Marauders by Tribe Called Quest, Doggy Style by Snoop, and Black on Both Sides by Mos Def. I recommend J-Rock's new album. Shit is pretty awesome. I also recommend Isaiah Rashad's album, Sylvia Demo. I ain't heard that shit yet. Also, if you could shout me out, that would be dope, even if you don't read my email on the podcast. Well, I'll shout out to you, Gus the Bus, bitch. Stay fresh as fuck, man. I listened to J-Rock's album. I only listened to it once, so I had to listen to it again before I can make a solid whatever, but I really liked it. And the title track, 90059, the title track is fucking bananas. I highly recommend that. So okay, those were your albums. I thought those were great choices. However, the reason I would make different ones is because those are all kind of hip hop albums. 2 of them are in a sort of the same. Well, they're not. Midnight Marauders and Black on Both Sides are actually pretty significantly different. Especially, obviously, Doggy Style is, but I don't know if for the rest of my days I'd want to hear only rap music. I think I'd have to take like. I think I'd have to take something else. I don't know what the 3 albums would be. I've had people. I think I've answered that on the podcast before, and I guarantee you, whatever I say now is gonna be different. Definitely Bizarre Ride to the Far Side. That would be my hip hop one. And there's something comforting in it being something that you'd know. Because part of me wants to say like, yeah, well, I don't want it to be something that I already fucking know front to back. But I think you wouldn't want to take any chances. You know. I'd want. That Bob Marley Live in London would probably be one, especially because there's just so much emotion in that, and reggae is kind of something that I feel like if I was stuck on an island forever, I feel like there's at least I could pretend like like, hey, I'm just on vacation and I'm feeling great. And then the other one would have to be, what did I say, Bob Marley Live in London, Far Side, Bizarre Ride to the Far Side, and something instrumental. I take a Grey Boy All Stars album. Grey Boy All Stars. What's the second? Not West Coast Boogaloo. The second one. Oh God, why do I not remember the title of that album? Town Called Earth. Grey Boy All Stars. A Town Called Earth. I want some instrumental funk on there. I really like that album. All right, so now we got 2 more, and like I said, these are kind of longer. Let me see if I got to read all this. Fuck it, I'm just going to go for it. Hey, this one's from Sean Q. Hey, Wax, how's it going? Catching up on the last couple podcasts. You mentioned you were caught up on the email, so I figured I'd say what's up. Pumped for the new album. Praise. Oh, you said you're going to have it on vinyl. I am going to have it on vinyl, but that might not be for a little bit. We have pre-orders for that, or will it just? I'm just gonna fucking read this. Pumped for the new album. Everything you released off it so far is great. Thanks, man. You said you're going to put this one out on vinyl. Are you gonna have pre-orders of that, or will it just be available when the record comes out on the 23rd? It will actually. The vinyl will probably not be available until a little while after the record comes out. Unfortunately, I'm sure I'll blow some money on some of the other merch you put out, whatever that up to. Well, I already talked about the merch. All right, gotta say, man, I totally agree with you about the link between happiness and believing what I consider to be bullshit about an afterlife, God, whatever. I have pretty much the same mindset you described yourself having as being inside your head a lot, thinking about shit in great detail, thinking scientifically and skeptically, etc. I said etc., etc. Sometimes I feel like I'm wasting so much time thinking negativity about humanity as a whole and worrying about shit that I'm basically wasting my enjoyment of the short time I'm alive, which could end at any second. It pisses me off when I realize that, but I can't really help it. Just small shit like seeing some son of a bitch throw trash out of his car window really wears on me. And I live in Philly, which is full of people throwing trash everywhere and not giving a fuck about it, so you can imagine how often that happens. That's a that kind of goes with what I was saying earlier. Yeah, like you really don't know when it's going to end, and thinking about things negatively is kind of pointless. You know, I do think about that kind of stuff a lot, but what I'm trying to do coming up here shortly in my life is change that about myself. I think I think you're right. It is pointless to kind of have this negative view, and I think that's why people latch on to the feeling of the afterlife and the concept of faith, because they know that that'll make them more happy. I mean, it's the same fucking reason people take Prozac, man. I think Jesus and Prozac are like the same, fucking not that far off from each other. Following that bright mental picture of humanity, here's a question. My wife really wants kids. I always just figured I'd grow into the idea eventually, which I have more or less, but I wouldn't say I want to have a kid. I'm more like, yeah, if that happens, it's cool. I'll definitely change up my life, which I guess I'm cool with. But the thought of it doesn't really excite me or give me any kind of joy. I'm just kind of indifferent. Honestly, most kids annoy me after a while of being around them, and it's nice to be able to separate myself eventually. I like the idea of leaving some legacy and something behind in the world, so I like that aspect of it. My mom was doing a shitload of research on our family history, and I'm into historical stuff like that, so it was really interesting to read about these strangers that I owe my existence to. I really like being alive, and if they had been as grumpy as me about reproducing, I wouldn't be here, so who am I to say no? That's funny. I'm annoyed by children. You don't get to exist. Plus, I get that kids turn into adults. And eventually are just great friends instead of screaming kids, so there's that. But the thought of it just really stresses me out. On the other hand, you're bringing someone into the world that may go through a tremendous amount of emotional pain and eventually be so depressed that they kill themselves. Somebody that I knew from high school just killed themselves yesterday. It's a girl. She had 2 kids. And I'm not going to say her name, but it was a girl. And she had 2 children, and she recently had her kids taken away from her. She was having mental problems and depressed. And I guess yesterday she suffocated herself with a bag. So, Jesus Christ, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know why I interjected that beautiful piece of news into your fucking letter. These are the kind of things that keep me up at night when I think about the shit, and I don't really think my wife is thinking about them. I think her he said LOL. I think her reproductive instincts are basically controlling her brain right now. I also really worried about the attention it seems like it'll bring from my friends and family. People asking me if I'm excited and me just shrugging and saying, sure. Anyway, my question is this. You think it's a good idea for someone like me with that mentality to have kids? You think I'll be amazed by how much it changes my opinion when it's my own kid? Am I just thinking too much again and costing myself potential happiness? Will that screaming, shitting, money, and sleep-draining offsprings of mine melt my cold heart? That was pretty poetic. I know in your last podcast said you were kind of in a funk. I get that. I hope this email didn't depress you more. Stay positive, man. Can't wait for the new album later, Sean Q. Well, I appreciate the email, Sean Q. I appreciate the message of positivity that you're attempting to put in my life, and I'm feeling a lot better this week, actually, than I was last week. I feel great. I feel good this week. So, yeah, this is a hard one for me to answer because I see that you already have a wife. And if you got a wife, I mean, you got married, it's kind of like the next step in your life is kind of like you have kids. Depending on what you do. I don't know what you're doing with your life. I don't know anything about you. I actually do know a little bit about you. I've met you before, Sean. If I remember correctly, I believe you're a photographer that came to the Warped Tour last year. I'm pretty sure that's you, unless I'm fucking crazy and that was a different dude named Sean. But yeah, man, if you're doing your thing, you're living together, you're married. It's kind of like, I don't think that you had, depending on how old you are, I don't think you should feel immediate pressure. If you feel that it's going to take time away from your friends and time away from what you're doing now, I'd have a talk with your wife about being like, listen, babe, listen, hon, listen, apple pie britches. Can we wait like another year or two? Can you keep taking that fucking pill? Yeah. So I think you should talk to her if you're having those kind of feelings. But I do think, from all my friends that have kids, I do think that the moment you have your own kid is very, 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 very different than other people's kids. And I think it just hits you. And from every single person that I talked to that had kids, it just things change when you have a kid, and now the kid becomes the first priority. Unless you're a piece of shit. If you're a piece of shit and you don't give a fuck, then that's different. But everybody else, the kid becomes number one, and you still find time find time to have fun, and there's problems in that you don't sleep as much, and you got to do all the shit. But I've like even all the stuff like with them shitting and you having to change the diaper, and like I hear that the good by far outweighs the bad. I mean, I'm at the point in my life where I kind of want a dog. So I'm like the level below you. Like I've kind of wanted a dog for like 5 years, and that's the kind of shit where like I just don't think that I'll love the dog enough for the good to outweigh the bad. But everybody I know that has a dog, they love the dog, and they'll take the dog out. They'll accept the responsibility for the dog. They do whatever they got to do for the fucking dog because they love the dog. Now me, I don't think I'm a person that loves animals that much. But if I had a kid, I think that I would change all my ways. So what's your, let me see, hopefully I asked your specific questions. Yes, I do think you'll be amazed by how much your opinion changes. And costing myself potential happiness, possibly. You're just a dude who thinks a lot. You're just somebody who really thinks about everything, and if I were you, I don't know how old you are, Sean. I don't know how old your wife is, but I would be like, look, I'm a little iffy right now. I know that we should do this eventually, but like, give me a little time, and then just go on a fucking bender. And you know what, dude? What if I was like, dude, you should just leave her, dog. Nah, 'cause you know what happened if you left her? As soon as you left her, you'd get like the first girl that you hooked up with, you'd accidentally get her pregnant. And then you'd be like, fuck. All right. Thanks for the email, Sean Q. I got one more, and this is a kind of a long email, too. I might skip the beginning of this. This is in praise, I think, a little bit. Let me see what I got. Fuck it. What's up, Wax? The name is Richie, and I'm 24 years old out of Stockholm, Sweden. It's a place where I've never been, man. I've never been to Stockholm before. Saw you perform in Denmark during your Hug a Hater tour together with EOM and Watsky. Shit was dope. Haven't been to a lot of shows before, but it is easily the best show I've been to. Looking forward to seeing you again one day. Thanks, man. And I just want to say before I get into the rest of your letter, that fucking show in Copenhagen was one of my favorite shows I've ever played. I was amazed at that show. And I was touring with Watsky all over Europe. And Watsky has a lot more fans than me. So like I'm the opening act, and people come out to see me too, and I do well, and people fucking know my shit and all that. But at that place in Copenhagen, it was the one place where it was like when I got there, like when people were chanting EOM's name and just fucking real into it. And it was cool because we were the after party show. Like in Denmark, I guess people don't like the venues will do a show at 8, show at 10, they wouldn't even do a show at 8. It's just a late night kind of town. So our show didn't start till like 2 a.m. And it was really fucking hot in that venue, but it was fucking amazing. That was that was probably on that tour, the club tour that I did with George. George is Watsky's real name. Well, they're both his real names. His name's fucking George Watsky. But that was the one. That was the one where the crowd was the most energetic, and I just felt the most vibes. You know what I mean? Anyways, I suck at keeping shit short. So if you want to know who I am, if you don't want to know who I am, then I can skip the following sections and go straight to my questions. Well, I actually thought that the section on who you are was really interesting to me. I'm currently working in an electronics store and studying to become a PE and English teacher. Hopefully, by the time you read this, I'll be done with my last assignment and on the search for a proper teacher job. Hold on, man. That was the sound of me drinking water. Yeah, so he's trying to be besides that, I'm practicing track and field, specifically long jump. My personal record at the moment is 7.33 meters, with the dreams of one day making it, meaning I won't have to be working at the side. That means working on the side. Just again, can you just do long jump? Can you just only do that? I didn't know you could do that. Like, that's what's fucked up. People don't know about Olympic sports. It's worse with Winter Olympics, I think. But like you win the gold medal in bobsled, then you go back to working at Target. It's not like that's a full-time job. Well, at least not in every country. Just like everybody else on this planet, I'm getting older and probably have about 5 to 7 years in me before my peak is done. So the big dreams are to make it to the 2020 Olympics, and after that, we'll see what happens. I just thought that was interesting, man. Like, that's quite a dream, man. You're 24 years old. So when you're 29, what your goal is to be competing in the fucking Olympic Games in the long jump. Because that was just crazy for me to read, because thinking about that, it's like to be the best person out of fucking, how many people are in the world? 9 billion? 7 billion? To be the person who can jump the longest in the fucking world, to even compete for that title, that's an amazing goal. That's an amazing feat. And it would just be crazy if you achieve that. But it's cool that you're doing something else too. You got the teaching thing going on too. Besides, and then he goes on. In case you thought everything I just said was all in his letter. Besides all that, I have a huge passion for video games, and I love music in general. To discover and find new artists is always fun, and this leads to my questions. I kind of have 2 questions, so feel free to answer both or whichever question you want to answer. As I said, I have a huge passion for video games, and when I heard coins the first time, I immediately recognized that the beeping sound that goes off about every second is the pause sound effect from Luigi's Mansion from the Nintendo GameCube, and I love when the artist implements stuff like that. Sends a nostalgic chill down my spine. And that got me curious. Have you ever been into video games? If so, do you have a favorite game of all time or something like that? And is there a video game song that you really like and would perhaps make a jam out of? Let me just go ahead and answer that. EOM, my homie, EOM, who made that beat, was, and probably still is, honestly, a big video game fan. So he made that. He's made actually a bunch of video game based beats, and he samples everything, and video games is one of them. But he's an avid video game fan, and I wish I could have him field this question, because if I'm being honest, I'm not a video game fan. I played video games when I was much younger, and then the last time I was ever into a video game, like on some like, yo, I really like I'd be somewhere and wanted to go home and play it, was when like the fucking first or second Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was out. So that's a long time ago at this point. And I just never really cared about video games, man. Like, I think that sometimes when I played them, I had that feeling that I should be doing something else. I had the feeling that I've never really been good at video games. I'm not good at hand-eye coordination. Like, when I used to play guitar, Well, I mean, I still play guitar, but when I used to really, really play and practice and really go hard with just the skills, there was really kind of like a ceiling I got to as far as how fast like I could play, as far as like speed picking and shit. And I see people that do that kind of shit. I'm like that's the skill that I just don't contain in my body. No matter how much I practice. So I was blessed with a good amount of talents, and hand-eye coordination is not one of them. So that's why I was never good at, I don't know, baseball, shit like that. But yeah, I got to be honest with you, man. I'm not a video game fan at all. I don't have a favorite video game. My favorite video game is Galaga in the arcade. That's my favorite. And you just fucking smash the button. That's my favorite joint. You listen to. And lastly, you say you listen to a lot of music. What genres are you into? I love rap and hip hop, but then one of my other genres that I'm into are like electronic stuff and genres down that aisle. Artists like Savant, Infected Mushroom, and Daft Punk, etc. Sorry for the long email. I stuck at keeping shit short. Looking forward to a new album. Listen to I appreciate that, man. I want to end this email with a recommendation of an album called Peace, Love, and Music by Swindle. I'm not familiar with Swindle, but I'll check that out, and I hope you guys check it out too. Thanks for taking the time to read this. May you prosper in the things you love doing, and good luck trying to pronounce the Swedish interpretation of best regards. Basta Hausnignar. Basta Hausnignar. Best regards. So there was a question. Oh, what kind of genres am I into? I like all genres of music, man. Like I said on last week's podcast, I've been kind of in a country mood this week, man. This you know what I listened to today? I listened to the entire listened to Johnny Cash live at Folsom Prison. I used to listen. That used to be a go-to album of mine. Johnny Cash live at Folsom Prison. I used to cover a couple of the songs on that album. There's some songs on there. What's that one called? I think it's called Black Veil. And that shit'll send shivers down your spine, man. And so there's a lot of funny things too, because he sends shivers down your spine, and then all of a sudden he starts laughing, and it's like, damn, dog. Like, I don't know if he was actually as there with the emotion as I was and shit. But then I like Down in the Mine. I love that one. And that's my recommendation for this week. But yeah, like I said last week, for some reason I've been on some country shit. I've been listening to old rap too. I've rediscovered fucking Lord Finesse. I was actually I never really listened to Lord Finesse when he was out. Granted, I was really young at that time, but I was listening to rap at that time. There's only so much shit you can listen to. And my brother said a while ago, like a year ago, he's like, dude, Lord Finesse was the shit. So I've been listening to some Lord Finesse. It's another, what is that? Return of the. It's old school. Some of y'all young cats won't even fuck. You'll be like, man, this shit's whack, but it's not. It's not whack. It's fucking amazing. So those are my recommendations for this week: Lord Finesse and Johnny Cash. And with that said, be safe out there.